Hello, this is me, Dimple Jan. Welcome back to V.S.M Learners. So, this is my very first video, educational video on this channel, and today's topic is taxonomy. In this video, I'm starting with the very basic detail about taxonomy and then I'll go higher and higher. So this video is for every kind of a student, whether you are learning in a school or you are in a college. Doesn't matter, you can watch my video to learn things about taxonomy. Okay, so let's get started. The very first thing is, what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is one of the oldest field of biology in which we identify a thing, classify it and give it a name. Okay, it is based on living organism. Okay, and in this we have to just identify an organism, classify it into categories and then give it a name which is applied all over the world, not only to your region or your country. It needs to be applied all over the world. Okay, taxonomy is made up of two terms, taxa plus nomos. Taxa means arrangement and nomos means laws. So here we have again a definition from these two terms. That is, taxonomy is a field in which few basic laws are provided to classify a thing or to give it a name. Okay. Now, there's another term which I have seen that often students get confused with the taxonomy and that term is systematics. There's no need to get confused about it. There's a very little difference between taxonomy and systematics. That is, in systematics, along with the taxonomic details, we study about the phylogenetic relationships or phylogeny. Okay, that means, for example, let us take our example, humans. In taxonomy, humans are classified into the kingdom Animalia, class Mammalia. So there's a proper classification. In systematics, along with the classification, we have to study that how humans have evolved or the relationship with the apes. So that's systematics. Okay, I hope taxonomy and systematics, both these terms are clear to you. So let's move to the next topic. Now, next question is that why it is important to learn taxonomy and why it is so huge field, right? Matlab, there needs to be a reason. Na? If we are learning anything, then we should know why we are learning this. And here's a tip. If you want to learn science like a pro, just remember to ask a question, why? Why you are learning this? Why this topic is included? I must tell you, this is the very important thing if you are learning science. Let alone other subjects, but in science, you should know why you are learning a topic. So again here, you should know why you are learning taxonomy and why was there a need to have a field. Okay, to classify a thing, to give it a name. We should know this. So, as you all know, the living world comprises amazing diversity of living organisms, right? We have an amazing, a diverse variety of plants and animals around us, isn't it? Okay, just look around yourself. You'll find trees, you'll find shrubs, herbs, then there are some microbes, reptiles, insects, and large animals like cat and dog. So, we have such an amazing diversity. And you know, we all have to learn the features about those animals and the plants. Not all, but the person who is pursuing this particular subject. So, it is also impossible, right? At the same time, it is impossible to learn all the features of all kinds of animals and plants, like all the living organisms at a time. So, to avoid that difficulty and to remove this difficulty, biologists started classifying organisms based on their morphological, anatomical and cytological characters. Okay, what? Morphological, external features, anatomical, internal features, and cytological features of cell, how the cell is functioning, number of chromosomes, DNA, RNA. So basically on the basis of these characteristics, biologists started classifying organisms. Now, who was known as the father of taxonomy, or who brought these system or who classified the organisms first? So it was developed by Carolus Linnaeus, who is also called as the father of taxonomy. He also developed the system of binomial nomenclature and a hierarchical system. He wrote 2 books, Species Plantarum on plants and Systema Naturae on animals. So this is the basic detail about the biologist Carolus Linnaeus. He is known as the father of taxonomy, and this you should know this. Okay. So he is known as the father of taxonomy. He developed binomial nomenclature and a hierarchical system. So we'll later learn about binomial nomenclature and the hierarchical system. But let me tell you one thing which is a very interesting fact about this biologist. Look at his name. Have you ever written your surname with a small letter? Have you ever started your surname with a small letter? I don't think so. But this scientist, as he developed the binomial nomenclature, he also followed those rules on his name. So look, his first name started with C is capital, and the starting letter of his surname is a small letter. Also, when we write his name, we have to write it in italics or it needs to be underlined, because these are the basic rules of binomial nomenclature which you will learn later. He also applied these rules on his name. Okay, now there are 2 books, Species Plantarum, which he wrote on plants, and Systema Naturae, which he wrote on animals. He is Carolus Linnaeus. Next, we have Theophrastus. In 300 BCE, that is before Carolus Linnaeus, there was a philosopher who is known as Theophrastus and now known as the father of botany. Okay, he classified plants on the very basic difference. He classified plants as trees, shrubs, herbs only. Okay, although that was not a correct basis of classification, we do not follow that too much, but he started this and he is known as the father of botany. So, father of taxonomy, Carolus Linnaeus. Father of botany, Theophrastus. He is Theophrastus. Okay, now let's move to the another slide. So, now the topic is nomenclature. Now, what is nomenclature? So, as we had discussed earlier that in taxonomy, we have to give a name to particular organisms, and the process of giving scientific names to organisms is known as nomenclature. Very basic. Now, again, why is it important? So, we all know that there are lots of plants and animals around us, and we call them by their local names. Okay, if you compare countries, you will find different names for a single fruit. If you compare different villages, which is very basic level, which is very lower level. So if you compare the villages, you will find again different names for different fruits for a single fruit actually, right? But you cannot use those local names if you are talking to a biologist from another country, if you are doing the research with them. This will create confusion. So, to avoid that confusion, nomenclature or naming of organisms is required. I hope it's clear. Let's take an example. If I say mango in India, everyone will understand, but I'll go to America or somewhere other country outside the India, then I can't say mango, because they won't understand this. They have another name for that fruit. So I have to say its scientific name, that is Mangifera indica. Okay, so just like this, there are different names for different plants and animals. The plant you called aloe vera is known as Aloe barbadensis. Then earthworm, it is known as Ferretima posthuma. Okay, so there are different names, different scientific names for different plants and animals. Okay, turmeric is known as curcuma longa. Oh, and there are lots of names, and you'll find it interesting when you learn. Now for plants, ICBN provides principles and criteria. ICBN full form is International Code for Binomial Nomenclature, and ICZN provides criteria and rules for animals. Full form International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. Sorry, for ICBN it's Botanical Nomenclature. My mistake, sorry. So now let's move to the next slide. Phases in taxonomy. So as we have discussed and we have seen in the second slide that from 300 BC till 18th and 20th century, biologists are researching a better way of classifying organisms. So there were some phases in taxonomy which were classified by Tyrrell. He classified the phases of taxonomy into 3 categories, and according to him these are alpha, beta and omega taxonomy. Alpha taxonomy, that was the phase which is very old, and that time, like, it was used before 1940s. So at that time the organisms were classified only on the basis of their external features, morphological characters. Okay, in beta taxonomy, the organisms were started classifying on the basis of their morphological, anatomical, cytological, embryological, genetical similarities, and I think actually for everyone, beta taxonomy is better than alpha taxonomy. Why? Because I have a lot of criteria for classifying an organism, and as the criteria, it will be more easier for the students or the biologists to classify and to learn the organisms. Okay, again then comes the omega taxonomy, which is the third phase, and this phase was based on microscopic and biochemical evidence. Now this was when the microscope has developed. Okay, so Leeuwenhoek was the scientist who developed the microscope, and when he developed this, now the studies were on basis of some microscopic details. So in this taxonomy, in this phase, the classification was done on the basis of biochemical evidences like DNA sequences, number of chromosomes, and how amino acids present, how many amino acids are present in an organism, or how they are formed, how their biochemical evidences include like their structure, how they are arranged in an organism. So on those basis, classification was again started to be done. So these are the phases in taxonomy which was given by Tyrrell. Now move to the next slide. Now taxonomic hierarchical categories. Okay, so in the second slide I have told you that Carolus Linnaeus developed a classification system or hierarchical system. So this is what he developed. Now Carolus Linnaeus developed the classification system called taxonomic hierarchy. Each category is a part of classification and is referred as taxon. Okay, so there's a category, there are levels in hierarchy, and each category is known as taxon. Let's learn one by one. The first category is kingdom, and this category is particularly can be called as taxa. So kingdom. Next, phylum or division, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, so this is the hierarchical system given by Carolus Linnaeus. Now here, kingdom is a taxa, phylum is a separate taxa, class is a separate taxa. Similarly, so each category can be called as taxa. Now just look after the example I have written just after these hierarchical categories. Kingdom, Plantae, phylum or division, Tracheophyta, class, Magnoliopsida, order, Gingiberales, family, Gingiberaceae, genus, Curcuma, species, Longa, L. L dot because this classification was given by Linnaeus. Now, this is the classification of turmeric, haldi. Yes, Cucurma longa is its scientific name given by Carolus Linnaeus. Now, in case if you find difficulty in learning this hierarchical system, you can use the mnemonic written over here. King Philip or David came over for good soup. Now, you must be thinking why I have written the second category as phylum or division. So, we use phylum if I am talking about the animal, and we use division if I am talking about the plant. So, these two terms are according to the plant and animal. Okay, now here. What is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species? We are going to learn one by one, and I am going to start from the species. Okay, from down to up. So, species. This term was given by John Ray, and it is a group of individual organisms which have similar characteristics and the ability to breed and produce fertile offsprings. Okay, so species is the group of organism which have the ability to reproduce and which have identical characteristics. Let us take an example of humans. So we all humans belong to a species, okay, belong to a similar group, and we are known as sapiens. Now there comes genus. Genus is the second lowest rank which comprises the group of relating species. Okay, so sapiens, we have a species name as sapien, and our genus is Homo. So genus include different species. Now family, the family is a group which comprises different genus. Order comprises different families. Class comprises different orders. Phylum or division, it comprises different classes, and kingdom comprises all the phylums. So, kingdom is the highest taxonomic rank and species is the lowest taxonomic rank. In the next video, in my next video, we will be discussing the classification given by R.H. Whitaker. R.H. Whitaker classified organisms into the 5 kingdoms, namely Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia, and we will discuss the features of these kingdoms one by one in my next video. So this was a basic detail about the hierarchical categories. There is not too much to learn about them, but you have to learn the hierarchical categories, hierarchy, taxonomic hierarchy, and you can use the mnemonic here, written over here. So now move to the last slide. Now, trends in taxonomy. Do not get confused between phases of taxonomy and trends in taxonomy. Phases of taxonomy were based on timelines, okay? And trends in taxonomy is based on research, okay? Now, there are 4 trends in taxonomy. That means I have 4 ways for classifying a single organism. These are cytotaxonomy, chemotaxonomy, numerical taxonomy, and cladistic taxonomy. In cytotaxonomy and in chemotaxonomy, you have already learned what we can do. In cytotaxonomy, I can classify organisms based on the information provided by cytological studies, that is, the structure or the number of chromosomes, the pattern of meiotic division of chromosomes, etc. In chemotaxonomy, I can provide information related to the chemical constituents like amino acids, protein or DNA sequences present in an organism. Now, there are 2 new trends which enhanced after almost 1960s. In numerical taxonomy, what can I do? It is based on statistical methods, and in this method, what can I do? In this method, characters of an organism are given a code or a number. That is, I can give a number or a code to different characters of an organism. And then I'll record that data on a computer, and then I'll match it with the another organism. Okay. So, for an example, if I take 2 humans, I'll check it has 2 eyes. I'll give this a code A. I'll check all his features. I'll maintain the data in a computer. Then I'll check on another organism. I'll give him a data, give him a code. I'll store his data in a computer. Then I'll match both the datas in my computer, and then I'll give a result whether they can be put in a category or not. So this is numerical taxonomy, in which classification is can be done or can be recorded in a computer. Then cladistic taxonomy, it searches similarity due to common origin from a common ancestor. Basically, it is based on evolution. Okay, so in this, each evolution creates a branching, and organisms are arranged on the basis of their evolutionary relationships or the character they have derived from their ancestors. So there's a phylogenetic tree which is made, and this tree is known as cladogram. You will learn about the cladistic taxonomy, or you have learned in evolution. So if you are in 10th or 11th class, you will learn this later in evolution, or if you are in higher class, you have learned about the evolution in school level, at school level or in 11th class. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll be posting a continuous video in my next coming videos. I'll posting this chapter in a continuous way in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.